Hello everybody out there in RostyMaths land. It's nice to see you here watching another one of my videos. And in this video, we're going to be doing some work on surds. Now, I have sort of done this before at a much simpler level for year 7s. I will talk about that more when I start the actual lesson, but please make sure you do check it out. Really, really important to understand today's lesson. Anyway, we're going to introduce surds to you today. This is where we take square roots and we muck around with the numbers and then we simplify it. Absolutely brilliant. Stick with me, learn something new. If you are new here though, and you are not subscribed, because my data is telling me lots of you are watching the videos, which is good, but you are not subscribed. So, you go do the thing, click the button, okay? And hit that notification bell so you do not miss another upload. Anyway, we got some surds to do. Let's get this going. Okay, so surds it is then. So what are surds anyway? Surds are usually numbers within a square root that you can't work out. Another name for them is like a radical. I think the Americans call it a radical. We call it an irrational number. So here's the difference between this then. The square root of 16 and the square root of, let's say, 2. One of them is a surd and one of them is not. So this one is not a surd because we know that the square root of 16 is 4, because 16 is a square number. If you didn't know this, please make sure that you check my video popping out right now on the introduction of square roots. And so once I've done this in my year 7 series, go check that out. Anyway, coming back to my point. This, however, is a surd because the square root of 2 is an irrational number. Or in other words, you'll end up with a bunch of decimal places and it makes it rather difficult to round these. Okay, so that's basically it done. So now you know what a surd is and how to recognize it. Life is great. There are a couple of rules about surds though. If I have two surds multiplying like that, I can separate them into the square root of one and the square root of the other multiplying. This is not the case if they were adding or subtracting, okay? So please don't ever do that. Same thing if they're dividing. If I've got two surds, one divided by the other like so, I can then separate it into the square root of one divided by the square root of the other, or I can even write it like this, the square root of 1 divided by the square root of the other, and so on. So these rules will become really important as we get on with what we're doing today. Let's go and do some simplification of surds now. Okay, so here we've got 3 questions that we're going to do to finish off this video. This is just an intro video into surds, mind you. Let's go through the first one then. So the square root of 12. Now, quick disclaimer. I have already covered all of this stuff in a much simpler way for year 7s when they were doing square roots of numbers. Check the pop-out banner coming out there to have a look at that, because I will be going through some of those sort of steps now, and hopefully you get the idea. Now, your times table needs to be good, because the first thing that you need in order to be able to work out any of these surds is you need to find the highest square factor in each of these numbers. Now, if you don't know what I mean by that when I say square factor, click on the pop-up banner, go watch this video on square numbers that I have done. But anyway, the highest square factor. The highest square factor in 12 is 4. It's the biggest square number that goes into 12. So I'm going to split that 12 into 4 times 3. And that's because 4 times 3 is 12. Now it looks like this. So I can split it apart like that. So that means I have the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. The square root of 4 is 2. So 2 root 3 is my answer, and that is now finished. Just like that, done. So the square root of 12 is equal to 2 root 3. All right, let's move on to the next one. So the number 20. Again, if you want to pause the video and have a go on your own, please do. I've already given you the rules. You know what you're doing. All right, here we go. Square root of 20. What's the highest square factor of 20? Well, the biggest square number that goes into 20 is 4 again. So that's 4 times 5 this time. 4 times 5 gives me 20. It now looks like this, so I can split it up like that. That gives me square root of 4 times the square root of 5, which means it's 2 root 5. Now, I've done it up here, and I've done it again now, and I hope you understand what's actually happening here. 2 root 3 here and 2 root 5 actually means 2 times root 5. I hope you know this, okay? All right, and these are surds because you can't simplify them any further, okay? Let's finish this last one off. So on this last one, the biggest square number that goes into 300 is 100 because 100 times 3 is 300. Again, it looks like that. So we split it up, square root of 100 times the square root of 3. The square root of 100 is 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. So the final answer here is 10 root 3. And therein ends the introduction video on surds. I hope you understand what was happening here. You can go on and practice questions that are a little bit more challenging. If you find this video very good, please give it a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more content like this. I will see you on the next one.